The 2023 Nebraska Soybean Board See for Yourself Tour is underway this week in the Pacific Northwest. One of the topics, decarbonizing heavy-duty equipment. At Star Oil Co., Mark Fitz, the president, discussed this a little bit more.
Well, the biggest thing is on the West Coast, soon probably the Northeast, you have a bunch of incentives that are pushing to decarbonize transportation, which means the CO2 impact of the fuels we use substantially drops. With that, the only pathway that really works well, that allows 50,000, 80,000, 105,000 pound equipment to basically do a 12-hour or a double shift, or really do the work that we need to do, is biodiesel and renewable diesel, typically sourced from American feedstocks like soy. And the soy farmers are the only people I see being able to provide another billion or 2 billion gallons of bean oil to that industry. And on top of it, they're probably going to do it that is competitive, cheaper than crude oil production, right? So that's what kind of blows my mind, is being to look at that. And then you go to the Midwest and people don't really see what's happening on the West Coast, where there are all these incentives that are basically leading to farmers being the solution to what we got for transportation.
You touched on it a little bit. The West Coast obviously looks at this picture a little bit differently. Yeah. Talk about that aspect.
Well, the West Coast, of course, the West and Northeast, right, are the big fuel markets. So you're seeing people like Chevron and the purchaser REG, Neste and Phillips and Marathon partnering together. Darling is partnering with, I think, 76, right? BP has bolted on systems to take vegetable oil and refine it at the refinery, co-located with their diesel and jet fuel. There is a gold rush afoot to basically get decarbonized fuel in the supply chain, and that is coming from fats, oils, and greases. That is huge. During COVID, 4 refineries went down because the market collapsed. There's no gas volumes. 3 of those are coming back as hydrogenated vegetable oil, which means they're making renewable diesel, renewable propane, and sustainable aviation fuel from fats, oils, and greases. And the only place they're going to really be able to see that growth is probably soy, right? Like that is fascinating. A company called Calumet had a plant that they shuttered. They brought it back as HVO. It started in December. So that's 4 major, large refineries that are counting on fats, oils, and greases instead of crude oil. Big oil is betting on biofuels as their growth potential, because diesel is going to be here. Gasoline may decline with EV penetration, but you're not going to see EV being able to do the work that diesel does for probably 20 years.
Okay, a lot of people would say, okay, why not those electric vehicles? That seems to be the hot thing right now.
Well, they want it to be the hot thing, but if you begin to look at them, they don't do the same work. If you're under 3,000 pounds, you're a small vehicle, one person, that'll work. But do those vehicles last 20, 25 years, right? And are they able to do a 20-hour workday? Currently, the technology is there, especially when it's cold, especially in inclement weather. I don't know about you, but we serve a number of utilities. We back them up with diesel. When we have a storm and power's going out, I can't say we need 4 hours to charge. They want us working. They literally waive DOT rules, and we just keep supplying fuel to keep them on the road. That is a diesel solution. And renewable diesel and biodiesel do that at an 80% reduction in carbon compared to what electricity. There's only so much solar and wind that they've been able to add. Are they able to triple, quadruple that? Maybe, but even still, we can triple and quadruple the amount of biofuel we provide at lower carbon and electric. So that's the other side of it. And they've yet to even consider what those batteries really impact are. That supply chain, the bloom is going to be off the rose as they begin to start looking at what those batteries are as they scale up.
What's the Nebraska Soybean Board, what's their role in this picture?
Well, I'd like to thank them for their support of the industry over the years. I know they've been a big supporter of the National Biodiesel Board, now the Clean Fuel Alliance. Without the Clean Fuel Alliance and the National Biodiesel Board and players like REG, Hero BX, Sequential Biofuels, who recently sold to Neste, those people helped me be able to develop a market, take care of customers, and they were in such a supportive role. They weren't making a penny, but they wanted the industry to rise. So when I was in my 20s and my parents thought it was the dumbest thing ever, my family's got an oil company, and I began to build out these businesses and begin to develop millions of gallons of customers who were voluntary adopters of biofuels. That support, being able to go to those conferences and see the organization funded by Nebraska and other states, it's been a big deal, especially the R&D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mark, these producers got to go outside and see a truck. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so they saw, we have I want to say it's a 2021, I may be wrong. We got a brand new Peterbilt with a Cummins ISX in it. It's about, I want to say it's like 450 horses. It was spec'd new with an Optimus system. Right now, if you go to Cummins' website, their new X15, they've got this fuel agnostic engine, the X15. It says B100 from the factory. Like, it is a full-throated endorsement on their website. We'll be buying new trucks from the factory with Cummins spec'd at a dealership, installed at the dealership, running B100, right? And the way those systems work is you got a B99 or B100 tank, you have a diesel tank. It starts up on diesel or renewable diesel. In our case, we were able to get renewable, so we put that in that tank. Renewable is more than diesel. Biodiesel is cheaper than diesel in our market, so we save money running B99. The diesel tank starts up. It also feeds the emission system, so people who run diesel equipment, you're very familiar with the expense of that diesel particulate trap. I am not going to presume people in Nebraska delete those. If you do that on the West Coast, they will catch you, and it is a $10,000 ticket. So we tend to manage and maintain those, right? Running this Optimus system has allowed me to reduce the maintenance on those systems and run B99 in the engine, which typically we're saving 30 to 70 bucks a shift, depending on where diesel's at compared to bio.
That again, Mark Fitz, he's president of Star Oil Co. here in the Pacific Northwest. Reporting in Washington, I'm Alex Makovica.